from Phoenix International Raceway, where tonight the stars, the Slide Jawb Racing League, look to do battle in the desert just over Rattlesnake Hill Alliance, this 1 mile speedway. We'll see drivers face this tough, tricky track to try to claim another win in season 15 of the Slide Jawb Racing League. Dawson Allen on the call for you here tonight, as always, joined by my colleague Randy Payne. Randy, it's been an exciting 2 weeks to kick things off, and we're looking forward to another exciting week here at Phoenix.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're only 3 weeks into the season already. Saw a great race at Daytona. I had a lot of strategy play involved at Daytona, back with Bridger Olson breaking his long-awaited winless streak. And then just last week at Kansas, we had a barn burner, a lot of cautions, a lot of wrecks, and a lot to talk about as far as how that race played out at the end.
Yeah, and we'll take you back to a Kansas recap just really quickly, just to showcase what happened last week at Kansas to get us to this point. So off the air, we were talking about this final restart of the race. Jaden Porter was the control car. Dane Cruz was in second on the outside lane. They go green. Jaden Porter spins his tires, goes down below the white line, I should say, not the WL line, but that's essentially what it served as for the race, and that was penalized. The top 5 drivers on the inside line were penalized for that jump. That was Jaden Porter, Austin Dorn, Chris Downey, James Bomar, and the 68 of Alexander Schumacher. All 5 drivers were penalized by being moved to the end of the lap, but the most important one, of course, was our race winner, Jaden Porter, stripped of the win, and Youssef Ghali wound up burning it down. He celebrated last week as the winner at Kansas. A chaotic way to kind of set the scene for tonight, as we got 5 minutes left in practice. So, the winner changing after the race. We went off the air with Jaden Porter being scored as the winner. Youssef Ghali then officially announced as so much later in the night. And now that 54 machine has a win on the season.
Yeah, Jaden Porter, although he didn't get to keep that win, he really, let's not forget, he had to put together a really good race. Unfortunately, his only big mistake happened literally with only 2 laps to go, but that doesn't mean that Youssef Ghali didn't run a good race as well. He was really consistent, probably in my opinion, the second fastest overall throughout the night. But yeah, like you said, this changes a lot of things as far as points purposes go. I mean, Youssef Ghali sitting 4th in points. He's only 17 behind his teammate Dane Cruz for the points lead.
Yeah, it's a big shakeup. The boost of the points, the win this season. I'm not too sure. I have to double check if it's winning in still, because I think it changed. I'd be wrong. But just the way the points are going to work, we'll see how it all plays out. But right now, Youssef Ghali has a win to his name here in the season, and Jaden Porter's winless spell will continue because of that. So with that, he'll end up having to move on to next week, tonight, I should say, in Phoenix, and try to knock out a win if he can, to kind of get back in the swing of things. So, but tonight, of course, another thing about it, it's not just the 3rd race of the season, it's also the 2nd race of the Dash for Bread. You'll see those drivers with green banners adorned on their machine. To see one of them right there on the racetrack, that is the 36 of Gabriel Dahari. He is one of our drivers racing in the Dash for Bread. He'll be racing for some bonus money at the end of tonight's race if he can get there. That 36 machine right there in the middle, that yellow 36 as he rolls. He's one of our 4 drivers that advanced to this Dash for Bread. Same with last week's winner, Youssef Ghali, Rivers Jones, and Dane Cruz, the 4 drivers, battling it out for a little bonus cash at the end of tonight's race. See how it shakes out for these drivers. So last week, really chaotic, getting down to the end of it to determine who would win that Dash for Bread. A lot of guys that had problems that were involved in it, and a last lap, essentially, wreck that set it up and gave it to, I believe, Steve Maggi.
Yeah, that battle was almost impossible to wrap your head around. I mean, with Bridger Olson, who won at Daytona, advanced to the Dash for Bread last week, he wrecked on lap 1. Maggio wrecked a couple laps later, I think, and Travis Van Oostendorp was really the most mistake-free out of all those guys, and like you said, he and Michael Walls, Micah, who spent a majority of the race, multiple laps down, finally got back on the lead lap. I think it was with the last restart, finally got back on the lead lap, and they came together and essentially handed that bread over to Maggio. So, tonight, these are 4 good drivers that are some of the most aggressive drivers in the field, and I think they're probably gonna, since they have a little added incentive tonight, they're probably gonna turn up the heat a little bit more. So we might be seeing the same.
Yeah, just racing for the win itself was enough for them to race hard and race the way they do. Now you're telling them they can win some extra money as well. Yeah, they're going to go a little hard for that. So they'll be racing each other a little tighter than others, but that's something we'll have to see. But this racetrack is going to provide some different racing, difficult racing, and I think it's going to be either one of two options tonight. We are going to have a caution-filled race with a lot of guys who can't keep their cars under control battling this racetrack, or we are going to have a nice, easy, strung-out race where there's not a lot of carnage, not a lot of problems, not a lot going on, which after last week, we really could use a race like that.
Yeah, we could, Dawson. I mean, last week we had to deal with the air packing situation at the big speedway at Kansas, obviously. You know, here at Phoenix, it's only about a mile and maybe some change length, so we're not going to really deal with the air packing, if at all, but we are going to deal with potentially some strategy if the race gets to that point, if we don't get cautions in the middle of the run. But I think tires and track position are going to be a lot more important. If track position rather was determined by how loose your car was, this week it's going to be determined by your track position. I think if you're going to want to fight for that track position.
Absolutely, and well, with practice, it's kind of been a little lopsided, I should say, is the best way to put it, probably. You know, the scoring for practice is very thrown off by that 25-second lap time. That was all ride lap. There's nothing too concern yourself with here in practice tonight. It's just a lot of drivers just kind of putzing around a little bit, having some fun before getting ready to lock it in and qualify for this race here tonight. So with just 10 seconds left to go, we're going to quickly throw an ad on so I can get the camera updated and get everything ready to go. So that way we have the best possible broadcast we can get for you here tonight on BRN.
Don't be conventional.
Kevin Harvick?
Be exceptional. Upgrade to Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. It helps your engine last over 250,000 miles.
Wow. What's he doing?
Raving.
He's exceptional.
So is Mobil 1. Yes.
Is this good?
I do not know.
Get 250,000 miles of protection. Upgrade to Mobil 1.
What can you learn from Tony Stewart?
You gotta sell stuff you love. People have to trust you. You are what you endorse. So any questions?
Why is nobody buying my Estrada glasses? Hello? Estrada.
Look at me, I got a million of these care crushers on load. Nothing. How do you do it, Tony?
Look, endorse things you believe in. Like me and the Whopper. I endorse it because I love it.
Okay, you lost me on that one, Tony.
Estrada.
Whopper, flame fresh taste, endorsed and loved by Tony Stewart.
Why me? Why me? I won Daytona last year.
I won Nationwide.
I did beat Jimmy Johnson.
I won Vegas.
I won Richmond.
I'm good with people. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm loyal. I like animals.
I'm better looking.
Come on. I'm a Libra.
There was a cat in a tree and I got him out.
So?
So what do you think?
Am I on your team?
Choose wisely. The all-new 2013 NASCAR Fantasy Live. Play today at NASCAR.com.
I'm feeling a connection here.
There we go. Now we got it set up and ready to go. Qualifying underway here. We're showing Gabriel Dehari on the racetrack right now. Currently, I want to say he is not set a lap time just yet. He's up on the wall there on the backstretch in the wall through the corner as well. So he's not going to set a lap time this time around. Matthew J. O'Brien currently is your pole sitter in the 43 machine. Trying to get paint schemes loaded up as well because things are all trying to do things at the same time. There we go.
You have full field tonight. So we will have a couple guys, unfortunately, packing it up and going back home for the 3rd straight week.
One of those drivers that's looking not to go home is Jaden Hopp in the 81, one of our open cars. Right now, fastest. Francisco Macayo, 2nd fastest. Have to keep track of some of the other guys. Go to JP, Jonathan Parker rolling off the pit lane right now. 43 cars have set a lap time thus far. Still got a lot of guys here that have yet to do so. I want to say we're at about 53 or 54 entries tonight. That's the case. Right now is the total. We'll send 13 of them home. 13 slowest of the open drivers will not be making tonight's field. Jaden Hopp, though, one of those open drivers that will be making the field right now with a very impressive 27.003 for that number 81 machine, looking to win the pole in his 3rd race this season.
A couple drivers I'm looking at who are waiting to come out, like Jonathan Parker, Amir Bascombe. Jade Porter still has yet to make a lap here for qualifying. Expect those guys to.
Pacheco went 3rd fastest there as Parker hits his line this time. 8th fastest for the 48 machine. Back to one of our open cars, trying to race his way in. This is the 68 of Alexander Schumacher. But another thing to note, too, some of these guys that are trying to battle to fight their way into this field, this is the last week that the top 25 from last season's point standings are officially locked into races. After tonight, it goes to the top 25 in points this season every week. Some drivers that are hanging on by a tear thread to last season's standings, they're going to have to hope and pray they can find some race pace to make these races.
Yeah, one of those guys is, when I saw this, I couldn't believe it. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, who actually won the last time we were at Phoenix back in, I think, season 13 in the Xfinity cars. He didn't complete a single lap last week, ended on his roof at Daytona, so he's struggling. He is sitting 45th in points right now. He's going to need a good race tonight to get his season turned around.
If he can get it turned around tonight, but right now, with no time left in qualifying, we have got a field set and ready to go racing. Go through it after the warm-up here. 5 minutes for the drivers to kind of get some last-minute practice, last-minute lap times, and happens. Field getting ready to go for warm-ups, getting some extra laps turned here, much they can. Ready to go racing. Here's a guy I want to keep an eye on tonight, Michael Kruger in the 41. The driver we talked about a lot of times that has yet to find victory lane. This kind of track suits Mike Kruger's driving style.
Yeah, Michael Kruger, I think he tracks like Gateway, any flat 1 mile oval, you're going to see Michael Kruger do good on. At least from my experience, I've raced against Michael a couple times thus far. And he is just really fast on these types of tracks, so I'm looking to him to have a good night. I'm looking at guys like maybe Matthew J. O'Brien, our defending champion, to bounce back. He's had a tough start to his season. And even guys in the back, maybe like Jimmy Cocker, some of these newer guys who are making their way in here to kind of show their stuff tonight. I think this is a good place to do it. It's a driver's track.
And the drivers that are able to benefit most from this track can very much boost themselves up in the points some more if they have more to give. We'll see what they can do tonight. We're kind of shuffling out onto the track, getting laps in. I see Jayden Porter showing up in the 55 tonight. Normally the 28 machine I thought was wrong. He is currently a different number for some reason. It's getting last minute. It's getting last minute lap time. Gino Mero right now the fastest of the cars that have turned a lap thus far in the 46 machine. There's Justin Rott spinning in the background, heading down the backstretch into turn 3. And so tricky about this. You're going to see and maybe hear it too. Some of these guys are going to be shifting as the runs go on. They will be shifting down to the 4th here. I believe it's down to 4th and back up to 5th. If not, it's down to 3rd and back up to 4th. Depending on how they do it, but you're going to hear a lot of shifting from some of these guys. They make their way around this racetrack, trying to, get as much speed out of the car as they can, get them to launch off the corner. That's going to be something that I think can really make a difference for some of these drivers as this race continues on.
Yeah, I think it's really going to help you out here in the early stages of this race, especially if we get a long run, which unfortunately You know, I want to say I'm not expecting, but we saw what happened last week. You're going to want to roll turns 1 and 2. You're going to see a lot of guys drift way up high and use that very top lane, roll in 4th gear, and try and build a run. Although that's going to eat your tires up really fast. And then down into turns 3 and 4 is where I would expect to see some guys shift down, maybe into 3rd, to try and build a run off of turn 3. Yeah, turn 3.
We're right on board with Gino Mero as he's turning laps here. We're right on board with Gino as he's turning some laps here, making some really good laps here in this warm, getting some last bit of practice for this 46 machine. A big wreck up ahead, he'll have to take some evasive action to avoid it. So kind of not able to show a good line, but you can see a good line of wreck avoidance there from the 46. And this right here is going to be the interesting part, the front stretch. This is where you'll see a lot of decisions made on how to make the corner and how to get in the corner, as Mero now taking a pit stop. So we'll go to someone else and see. We'll go to Francisco Kyle and see what we can see with this number 30 machine. You'll see he'll kind of cut the dog leg a little bit. That's going to be a very big key point in this race. Some drivers will elect to cut that dog leg, go down to the bottom as low as you can go. Some drivers are going to elect to stay up on the racing surface above that yellow line. So we'll see what happens with the decisions tonight, especially on restarts. That's going to be a key factor and a defining factor in this race. But you see right here, all the way down to this yellow line from 3 and 4, and you'll wash all the way up to the outside wall. Kyle right now second fastest lap behind just Jimmy Cocker in the 07. And I'm noticing here too, look at this line he takes. Outside lane for 1 and 2, way up high, and then he'll cut back down a little bit to get a run down the backstretch, trying to keep the car stable, then down into 3 and 4, he'll get all the way down that yellow line.
Yeah, you were talking about just a second ago. It's legal to go down there all the way down to the inside, but we're gonna have to pay attention really closely to the start and the restarts of tonight's race, especially after what happened at the end of the race last week. You cannot go below that line before you hit the green flag. So I'm gonna want to bet that these guys are a little bit extra, taking a little bit extra time to be careful to not do that with how tricky it is here at Phoenix, because it's not really an apron like say Kansas, but it still is tricky to not spin your tires and go down there.
Oh, the replay grabbing up so I can pull this graphic up, or at the very least pull this camera up really quick just to show it. Our finish line right there, you'll see that yellow line, can't go below it before the restart as I hit the camera joysticks there, so why not do that real quick, get that readjusted and have the shot ready, get ready to go racing. So now that the warm-up is done, we're heading into our race session. We'll make sure we got the camera set up nice and right. Crowd show. We'll move the crowd here into that first quarter, and we'll take a look at your starting lineup for tonight's race. Let's take a look at your field for tonight's running of the just had it shine bright like a Cactus 150 here at Phoenix. That's what it is. So taking a look at the front of the field, it is Jaden Hopp in the number 81 machine that will be starting on the pole position with Francisco Bacayo. To his outside, Christian Pacheco and Michael Kruger occupying row number 2 together. And you got last season's champion Matthew J. O'Brien and Stephen Maggio occupying row 3. Last time we were here, it was Ethan Fonseca Moreno to take victory lane. He starts in 7th with Jonathan Parker, another 2-time champion, on his outside. And running at top 10, it is Dylan Parker, the winningest driver in slide job racing history. 9th place, Steph Gali, last week's winner, back there in 10th.
Back here to row number 6, Bridger Olsen, Daytona winner, alongside our buddy Shuey, Alexander Schumacher, and then we go back to row number 7, Gabriel Dahari. He's one of our Dashboard Red drivers, alongside Jimmy Cocker. And then alongside, or back to row 8, Justin Rott, alongside Brody Falliker. Row number 9 is Gino Mero and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. And row 10, we got Austin Doran and Chris Downey.
Should be starting in 30th will be, if that's right, 21st, pardon me. Cassie Newsendorf with Bryson Bird in 22nd, Michael Walls and Sky McGirt back in row number 12. Row 13 sees Nicholas Bauman and Joseph Bird. Declan George and Ben Bafford occupy row number 14. And row 15, running at top 30, is Francis Hamilton and Andre Robinson. And this is where it gets a little more tricky here for the rest of this field.
Yeah, I don't have really the full extent of the data, but for me it's showing Jeffrey Armstead alongside Duncan Fall. I actually believe Duncan is not in the race, so We go back to Brett Bennett alongside Gabe Pizzola, and back to Derek Daly and one of our sponsors for tonight's race, Enrique Cucalon, along with Coleman Elmore, Oscar Enriquez, Blaine Sparling, Jacob Locklear, who's locked in tonight, Dane Cruz all the way coming from the back, Jared Wilson, Rivers Jones, Tyler Watermullen, and Jaden Porter.
Those drivers not showing up for me, so I will see a field of just 4 drivers racing for 150 laps here at Phoenix ETB. I'll take around the defending winner, and there's your Dash for Bread drivers. Yusef Ghali, Dane Cruz, Gabriel Dahari, and Rivers Jones. It is a hot one here. 112 degrees is the track temp, and it is clear skies all around. Make their way down the backstretch here, heading for this here, turns 3 and 4. The field by themselves away from the pace car for the start of this one. As they come through 3 and 4, they'll get the green flag waving, they'll get things rolling, and we will be racing in the desert. Green flag in the air, racing at Phoenix. Lap number 1, Francisco Bacayo takes the lead on the outside lane on the backstretch, and he'll lead lap number 1 over Jaden Hobb.
Yeah, that was a good move to get to Jaden's outside and get the run off the corner in that very top lane. You're going to see guys all throughout the field do that all night. A little harder on your tires, though, so we're going to have to pay attention to that. As we see Michael Kruger poking inside of Christian Pacheco.
A lot of battles further back here, a lot of 3 wide possibly here. Austin Doran trying to the inside of the 44. That is Brody Falliker blinking in out. Same with Justin Rott in the 76. As they continue to find ways to just kind of ease themselves into these groups here. Trying to find track position where they can get it. And a lot of moves. Justin Rott's way up the racetrack. Might catch the outside wall. He does. Everybody taking evasive action to miss that 76. We're going to go 4 wide for a second. Wow. That was an aggressive send by Ben Bafford, but it pays off. He takes a couple of spots away there as he continues to try to push forward early, 8 spots up from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, this is the beauty of the initial starts at these races here at Phoenix. It just gets so wide before it gets strung out. Everybody trying to get all they can get.
Up ahead, Gino Merrill in the 46. He thought about making it 3 wide. He ended up just staying in line in 15th place. So Justin Rott gets shoved up the outside lane. Might have had contact with Chris Downey. He gets it gathered up, keeps it off the wall, but still sent up the racetrack in that 76 machine. He has got a handful right now.
Yeah, Justin's having a tough time. I think he actually had some contact back there from Ben Bafford. His initial incident, I think he just got loose on entrance. It's really loose under braking in this car here, especially with the hot track temps. It looks like he's fighting his car a little bit.
Fighting hard, straight somehow, some way. He's managed to hold on right now where he's at, trying to keep him maybe a little further. Up front, battle for 4th, it is Steven Maggio on the inside lane, getting by Christian Pacheco, who was on the top side. Maggio now up into 4th.
Yeah, I don't think we can go to Phoenix without mentioning Steven Maggio at least a few times, because he is really good at this track, and he is honestly, we didn't do our pick for the win before we started here tonight, but Steven was going to be my pick for the win tonight. So moving up early, started a little bit behind. I think he started 7th spot. I might be wrong, but he is moving on up here.
Scored his 18th place, rolling up on the back bumper of the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer as well as he makes his way into turns 1 and 2 on the bottom of that 44 machine. It's here and there, then here and there, then here and gone. Let's disappear again, and then reappear.
Yeah.
After we're going to go to his inside now.
Trying to make it 3 wide. Brody's currently invisible for me right now, but he's in a bad spot as Jonathan washes up into him. Jonathan's on a charge here. trying to get up to the front.
Baffert trying to get back by the 0-0 to get another spot. Jurg is just kind of hanging tough where
He
he
is.
started this race.
Yeah.
Bowser's blinging in and out. He's still on the outside of this group. Oh, he's in the wall. Almost contact with Jurg. Baffert able to keep it straight, though. Keep it off the 0-0 as they continue to fight for this spot. This is a battle to crack the top 15 just about for these drivers. The Baffert finally clears in the battle for 16th. Park dropping through the field right now. Christian Pacheco might have caught the outside wall. He has dropped back now to 10-11, and he is fading quickly. Issues for the 88.
Yeah, it was very odd what happened. I don't know if he blinked out for a second or what, but he just lost all sorts of speed down the front straightaway, so we'll have to keep an eye on him as he continues now to be under pressure. Now from Shuey.
Yeah, he's got a 4 wide situation underneath him. I think what happened, Pacheco blinked out, and I think he got up high and let out to not mess up anybody's race.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like happened there. Might have let off, kind of let things happen to make sure he wasn't going to be in anybody's way or reappear inside somebody to cause an accident, like we almost just saw there with Ben Baffert trying to get to his outside. Baffert's stacked up now. Here comes the 44, 45 on the inside. Here comes Jurgen's on the inside, the 44, trying to shove his nose in there. Couldn't quite get it done. And now he'll have to try to get to the inside on the dogleg, using that shortcut there down the front stretch, heading into turn number 1, the 0-0 on the inside of the 44.
Yes, it's a hornet's nest right now here for the lower portion of the top 20, high top 25. You see Brody's just still blinking. I'm just sitting here. If I'm in one of these cars around Brody, I am just probably really frustrated right now with having to be around that. Is very sketchy.
I'm really worried. The guy I'm going to continue to keep my eyes on as this race continues on right now, though, is this number 23 of Ben Baffert. 13 spots gained since it's off the green flag. Right behind him is our biggest loser, Christian Pacheco, first having connections with people. 15 spots, he's back in 17th right now with the 88. Kind of found some stability. A lot of double cars right here. The 88, the 0-0. Look nice and tight with each other. There's also Justin Rock, the 76. They found the he's right on the outside of Jurgens right now, making me move on the outside, trying to march his way back forward after dropping back there earlier on.
Yeah, this is kind of the portion. I'm surprised that we've honestly gone this long under green, but this is kind of the portion of the race where you're just kind of settling in, hanging in here, seeing what your car's got, trying to figure out the strategy game, which we can go 80 laps of fuel. I doubt we're going to go that long on tires because they're going to be at a premium here, even though we do have 7 set. But right now, this is the part of the race where you just got to kind of feel it out, hang in there, not try to get too much, but also try to hang on to as much track position as you can.
Up ahead towards the top 5 is the battle for 6 kind of heating up. Matthew J. O'Brien, our last defending series champion, currently has it. He's got a battle coming from that number 54 of Youssef Ghali. There's a lap car up ahead that I believe is Declan George in his 71 up on the high side, getting out of harm's way. Way towards some lap traffic. Back into the battle up here in Jamie Porter, a 28 machine, I should say. Excuse me. Started out back here. Really been kind of stuck here. 35th place right now for last week's original winner for DQ'd after the violation of the white line rule. I guess best way to put it. The restart rule. Finding our 35th right now here in Phoenix. Riga Kukalan, 36, Blaine Sparling, Rivers Jones, and one of our National Red drivers is back there in 38. Kind of Watermill in 39th, and then Declan George, the lap car, in 40th. It's our back half of the field. Those bottom 5 right now as they run. James working back here. Kind of surprising for me. This 28 machine. Not being able to get up there and try to battle it out with some of the other guys. Right now they're battling with Jacob Lockyer in the 4th.
Yeah, the pressure's not really on him just yet. We're still very early here in this run. So not really tons of pressure on him right now, but I would start to get worried if I see those leaders starting to close in.
And speaking of leaders, Francisco Macayo took the lead and has not looked back. 0.7 of a second is the gap between himself and Jaden Hobb. as they run here, coming to complete lap number 19 on to lap number 20. And you see right there in third place, kind of creeping up on that number 81, he is Michael Kruger in the 41 machine. We mentioned how hungry he is for his first career Slide Job Racing League win. Now starting off on a good foot right now in third place. 41 machine continues to push towards that 81, trying to see if he can pick up another spot and get to second place and chase down Kyle. He's running some consistently fast laps on the racetrack. 41 has been fastest the last 3 laps that we have completed here. So your eyes on Michael Kruger, see what that 41 can do tonight.
Yeah, these front 3 have been running very similar lap times. Obviously, Michael's on a little bit of a charge right here, but how about Francisco? He took the lead on lap 1 and he hasn't looked back. He hasn't, you know, really put too much of a gap on Jaden Hop, but it's been manageable. And I think this top 4, top 5 are in a really comfortable spot right now to just not be overly aggressive, to push too hard.
Yeah, they've got a good spot right now, especially Mikhail. He's very good at putting himself out front, being able to save stuff. What I'm watching right now, we got it on screen now, is the battle for 10th. This is Austin Dorn's position, battling with Dylan Parker. Almost got into the 3 car into the wall. Oh, the 52, a little sideways off the bumper at the 3. Gino Merrill right here lurking. Same with Alexander Schumacher in the 68 machine. Is now Merrill to the inside of Parker as they go through 3 and 4. Getting your elbows out here.
Yeah, Dylan put the bumper to the back of the 52 of Austin Dorn momentarily, but he backed out of it, gave him some space, and now they continue to battle it out here between Morrow and Schumacher. These are where the battles are at right now. The crazy stuff is happening in the middle of the field around, you know, 10th, 15th. A lot of good stuff going on here between these guys.
Beautiful thing is, we are not Fox, so we're not sitting here trying to cut away and just show the leader running by himself, which we could do if I were to click over right now. Here's Francisco Bacayo, your race leader. And you see he's out to almost a second lead over Jaden Hop, and you see out in front of him it's clear track, so no reason to kind of sit in camp on our race leader when we've got battles happening up the field. Like right now, a battle brewing for 7th place. Last week's winner, Yusef Ghali, has it. Jonathan Parker, the 48 machine, he's giving him a chase for it.
JP sends it into the bottom, but Yusuf is going to get this run off the top. Just stretch it out a little bit over Jonathan.
We talk about JP, a driver who's currently affected by a losing streak. Has not won since back in season 12 here in the Slide Job Racing League. And I wouldn't say it's hitting Jawb. He's definitely not affected. It's not, he doesn't show it, but man, he is so hungry to get back to victory lane. He wants to get up there and win these races, but competition level here, Slide Job Racing League has really picked up, and I wouldn't say it's left JP behind, but I would say what it's done is it's made JP have to work harder for it. And I think JP has kind of found himself on the end of some bad luck as well, mixed in with that. He has had a lot of races kind of fade away from him that he had in control, or he's had maybe a minor mistake that would take him out of it. I know Pocono a couple of seasons ago was a big one for him. He was so close to winning it, finished 3rd in that race, and he was just dejected with himself. He was not happy with how that race went for him, but he's a fierce competitor and he wants to get back to victory lane, and I would be shocked if he does not find it again this season.
Yeah, you see, when I think of Jonathan Parker, I think about Daytona and how close he was to potentially tasting victory there. He's been there. He's been in the mix all season, and yeah, it wouldn't shock me. A couple of these tracks coming up this season would not shock me if Jonathan Parker finds his way back.
Right now, though, running in 8th place, falling behind Yusef Ghali, last week's winner. Matthew Joe Bryan, last season's champion. Behind him, he's our Daytona winner, Bridger Olson, currently running in 9th place. Bridger, of course, winning at Daytona, his 3rd career win. It was his first win since all the way back in 2022 at Kansas. Last time he had seen victory lane until a few weeks ago, and he's riding that high, looking pretty good right now as well. Running in the top 10 as things stand. 2 machine, nice look there. Belco Toyota Supra Camry, pardon me. I'm still used to Xfinity cars. Bridger right now running a top 10, having a good run so far here tonight.
You know, with how input sensitive this track is, I'm honestly really, really impressed with how well these guys have been able to keep a handle on their cars, especially with how hot the track is. But we're looking at potentially pit window opening here within the next maybe 20, 30 so laps, I would say. Remember, they do have a bunch of sets of tires in the pit that they can opt for. So it wouldn't shock me if a couple of guys dive down earlier than maybe normal, especially with the fact that we've gone 30 green laps.
Yusuf Ghali just got by Matthew J. O'Brien. Meanwhile, as well, Tyler Watermole was in the wall ahead of Michael Kruger, kind of checked up the 41 machine, and here comes Steven Maggio now, rolling up on that number 41 High Point Toyota Camry. The battle of the Camrys up front right now. Top 4, all on the Toyota team.
Now, as this run goes on, we're going to start seeing some of this lap traffic come into play here. We've already seen a couple. Like you said, Tyler Watermole now going a lap down. We saw Declan George several laps ago now go a lap down, but that's going to start to, if we continue like we're continuing right now going green, that's going to affect these leaders big time, I think.
Bit of a gap for the race leaders until the next lap car. That lap car being the 71 of Declan George again, then a gap even further to Rivers Jones in the 40 machine. Marching on here. But back to this, here, the 23 of Ben Baffert is starting to slip back a little bit. He's still in 15th now, as now Jimmy Cocker goes by in the 07. Shuffle all about here further back. Set position, trying to figure out where they want to run. Joe Bryant actually dropping a couple spots. He's back to 9th now in the 43.
Yeah, he's had a couple tough laps. He's now under fire from JP now. Tried to get around Yusuf Ghali, but just couldn't make it stick. And then lost a couple tenths there.
I don't think you're
and
live with us right now. I think you're a little bit further behind the race right now. He just got passed by Bridger Olson for 9th place.
You're right.
8th place,
you're right.
pardon me. Austin Doran is now chasing down that 43 and hopes to get another spot.
Yes, that. What I was looking at was about 3 or 4 laps prior to now where we're live at right now. But still unfortunate for Matthew as he continues to slide.
Battles on for third. Maggio to the inside of Kruger. As they head down the front stretch, that 51 goes all the way down, cuts that dog leg, trying to get a good run into turn number 1 on the bottom side. Kruger holding strong on the top, but Maggio is going to clear for now, and he'll take over position number 3 on the podium here at lap number 36. A lot of spaced out racing, a lot of drivers just trying to hang on for dear life. Tyler Watermole the first to take off and get out of the race session. He is going to finish 40th place right now. Declan George is still hanging tough in 39th, 1 lap down. Just ahead of him is Rivers Jones in the 40 machine, having a troublesome race, 38th for that 40 machine. He's a member of the Nashville Bread race, but he's looking like he's going to be a non-factor tonight.
Yeah, it's still about almost a third through this race, and he's having some trouble with the handle on his car, unfortunately. But, you know, we could catch a caution. He's not a lap down yet. So see, never say never, especially after what we saw last week. He definitely is not out of it just yet, I would say.
No, he's the last car on the lead lap right now, and of course the car ahead of him, Declan George, is already a lap down, so it's not a matter of he'll lose a lap to that 71, and he will be the first car lap down. He's got a gap ahead of him to Blaine Sparling in the 59. And they got a gap to Francis Hamilton, Enrique Cucalon battling for 35th. Nicholas Bauman he's certainly picking him off. He's up to 31st now, looking to the inside of Oscar Enriquez for 30th.
You gotta wonder if he was maybe saving a little bit of his stuff here. Still not where you want to be, back in 30th, 31st position right now. You see Jeffrey Armstead go way up high in front of them, so he's going to have to get by these guys pretty quickly if he's going to be a factor into tonight's race.
Oscar Enriquez looks sideways there in the corner. I think Jaden Porter's going to take the move and send it to the inside. Porter on the inside. Enriquez trying to power it up on the outside. Can't quite get it done. Porter's going to clear the 56. Going to try to cross him over down to the dogleg. Can't do it, though. in quarter for now. It's going to
cross him over.
Maybe hold on to Enriquez on the bottom, trying to get it there. Just slide up a little bit. He's going to back off, trying to keep him. Jordan 28. They're tight on each other for 30th. Enriquez will have to let it up. He'll let Porter go. Porter now sets its sights on Jeffrey Armstead in the 80 machine for position 29. Looking to march forward after last week's mishap. Up ahead, battle is on for 11th place. It is Alexander Schumacher and Dylan Parker. They are side by side heading through 1 and 2.
Getting to that point now in the run where it's getting harder and harder to put the power down. And that's why we're seeing some of these side-by-side battles get really interesting. Guys trying to cross each other over. This is getting harder and harder. These tires are wearing out. So this is good stuff. As Shuey, look at him go all the way back to the inside of Dylan Parker. Ooh. He got really tight there on entrance.
Trying what he can, just not able to make it work, but I mentioned the fuel window. It's roughly about 60 or 70 laps, I think is what I was told. Could be wrong. But if that's the case, you're really not going to see a lot of pit stops tonight unless we're under caution. If we're under caution, we're going to have pit stops. But green flag stops really not going to happen too much. I don't think we're going to have a big need for these guys to make green flag stops tonight unless they're out of gas. But up ahead, Michael Berger has fallen back to 5th place now. The 41 machine dropping the spots to Ethan Monteca Moreno there. He is trying to chase back down the 99. Up ahead, the battle for the lead is starting to heat up because Francisco Bacayo got Jaden Hopp right there on his back bumper.
Yeah, Jaden had a pretty good gap between him and Francisco for a good majority of this first run. But now he's going to the inside. He's going for the lead, maybe.
Up, trying to get the nose inside, couldn't get it, backs out of it. Now Stephen Maggio right there on the back bumper of the 81. Here comes Stephen Maggio trying to get in the mix for the race lead.
Into the wall they go. Maggio and Jaden decide to stay on the racing surface and allow Francisco to cut that dog leg as he saw him there, but he's going to try to get a big run off of turn 2. We'll see how it works out for him. Maggio just clips the wall just ever so slightly.
Guys, led every lap so far, 45 of them. Jaden Hopp starting this race on the pole. Bacayo with the wall. Here comes Hopp trying to get to the inside. Maggio going to try to run the outside lane.
Yeah, Francisco's got a lot of guys trying to apply pressure on him right now. Gone to the wall a little bit there on the front stretch in the dog leg. I think he's going to maybe surrender 2 spots now. Jaden Hopp.
Ooh, Maggio tried to drive it in there deep. Couldn't quite do it. Jaden Hopp is going to lead this lap here. He'll take back the race lead from Francisco Bacayo. Maggio to second. And now here comes Moreno for third.
Moreno's had an abysmal season. And he's kind of been hanging out so far in this first stint. Maybe saving his stuff for moments exactly like this. He's now up to third.
How quickly it shuffles around. Bacayo was leading. He finds himself all the way back in 4th. Maggio and Moreno were 4th and 5th. Now they're 2nd and 3rd. Jaden Hopp leading this field at lap number 48. Coming up on the 3rd way mark through this one. And it is the 51 of Stephen Maggio applying pressure to Jaden Hopp. The longer this run has gone, the more fun it's getting here at Phoenix. Pardon me. They are battling it out now for the race lead.
Yeah, Francisco has just lost all speed right now. Going to be interesting to see who dives down pit road first when we do hit that pit window. And you can realistically make this race, you can do this race maybe on 2 stops. But I was wondering in pre-race how much tires were going to matter. So it's going to be interesting to see as we get further and further into this particular tire stint. Maggio's still trying to apply pressure to Jaden Hopp.
Well, here's where Here's where your difference lies right now. So Francisco Bacayo was the race leader. His fastest lap he ran was a 27.177. His last time by was a 29.251, almost 2 seconds of over 2 seconds of fall off for the former race leader. Compared to Jaden Hopp, a 27.283 was as fast as a 28.955 the last time by. But there we see it. Bacayo was the first to pull the pit lane.
Here he comes.
But expect more to follow soon. There's another follower right there in the background. I believe that's Joseph Berg in the 77. But pit stops get ready to start happening here at Phoenix. Moreno driving to the inside of Stephen Maggio, trying the bottom lane here for second.
I don't really think a lot of these guys expected this race to run green for so long. I just said that a couple seconds ago, but now we're seeing these pit stops actually occur around the lap 50 mark. And this realistically would put it at a 2-stop race.
I imagine Francisco's going for an exact 2-stop at about 50 and then at about 100 to make it to the end of this race. We'll see how that strategy plays out. I'm wondering if maybe some of these guys try to go 1-stop. I'm wondering if the 2-stop strategy is going to be the different offset strategy that we see. That's Dorna moves on pit lane now. Alexander Schumacher in 68. Some more drivers coming to pit lane now this time. I believe Michael Kruger is, no, he's slow. Dropping spots now. Yusuf Ghali goes by. Same with Jonathan Parker and Bridger Olsen right there on the inside trying to get by as well. The 41 is slow on the racetrack now, having issues. Fading further back. Moreno to second.
He'll be heading to pit road soon. Michael Kruger. The longer these guys stay out, the more time they're going to surrender. But, you know, I don't know. This is, I've said this every week. This is why I'm not a crew chief. I am not good at strategy whatsoever. But it's just interesting to see how this plays out. We got these top 3 guys. They've stayed on the track now about 4 extra laps now than their counterpart, Francisco Macayo, as we see Moreno get in the back of Jaden Hoff.
Like I say, Jonathan Parker is on pit lanes. It was Gino Mero and Ben Baffert. We've seen more drivers come to pit lane this time here. Might see one of these top 3 poke out possibly here this time, unless we're thinking it's going to be maybe a 1-stopper. Some of these guys maybe considering trying to go long and then pit at about lap 75, about 20 laps from now. It's going to be where the divide is, I think.
Yeah, that would put it about... You can really realistically run, if you save enough, you can run about 80 laps on fuel. That's stretching it like a ton. But you can run to about maybe lap 75 before I think you want to have to pit. But even then, I think you're probably surrendering a lot of time as far as tires go. But we'll see as Maggio is starting to fade a little bit.
Ready to say the pass for the lead there. Moreno on the outside is powered by Jaden Hoff, no problems. Michael Kruger has come to pit lane. He has taken a stop here as well. Lap number 55. You got Cody Falliker on pit lane now, as well as Andretti Robinson. But I'm starting to think too, you gotta realize, it's 2-second fall off just about is what we're having these drivers currently running at, as opposed to a 2-second runoff, or at least a 1.5 seconds in the case of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. But I expect to see some other drivers maybe try to see Stephen Maggio coming to pit lane this time. The 51 is in. There's Chris Downey in the 27 coming. So it's going to be a split strategy, I think. We're going to see some guys try 2 stops. Some guys go maybe just 1 stop and try to 1-stop their way to the end of this race. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And the goal for the 2-stop is obviously you want to use that fresher tire near the end of this race. You want to use your fresher tires to try to chase down the leaders and try to win the race. And for the 1-stop guys, you want to hope you build up enough of a gap with fresh tires to pretty much stay out ahead and not have to worry about that 2nd stop.
Yeah, if I'm back here, if I'm like Brett Bennett, maybe Jaden Porter, one of these guys who's hanging out around 10th, 11th right now, I might want to try this 1 stop to see if I can get anything to work.
Yeah, for those guys back there, you are not going to win doing what everybody else does. You've got to go against the grain, and that's what they're doing. And
got a caution.
Oh, caution is on the racetrack. I think it's Jeffrey Armistead in the 80 machine. He is up against the wall. He is slow. This quickly throws a wrench in everybody's plans. Everybody that took the pit stop here and has quickly taken a toll. We went about 57, 58 laps of green flag racing for our first caution of the day. Great run there, I would say, and had a lot of fun. But unfortunately, caution flag is going to fly for the first time tonight. I'll take a look at your beer and replay and show you what happened. This is going into turn 3. Schumacher on fresher tires, just trying to get by. Jeffrey Armistead makes contact. Round goes the 80 into the outside wall, backs it in, and that caution for the first time after a small spin. back here and just show you coming through. You'll see the speed that 68 has rolling up onto Jeffrey Armistead because of the fresher tires. That's the difference these two have. They're just,
A miscue, a misunderstanding between two guys. I don't think. Maybe Jeffrey didn't know that Shuey was coming up that fast, and unfortunately, Shuey got to the back of Jeffrey, and now we're under the caution right in the middle of our pit cycle. So that's gonna shake things up with guys like Francisco Bacayo, Steven Maggio. They're gonna end up. Francisco's gonna get his lap back, but now it's Steven Maggio, Austin Doran, Jonathan Parker, Dane Cruz, who just came to pit road, I believe, right before that caution. All these guys are now a lap down.
So how to take the wave around? That's one thing. The other issue they're really worried about, in fact, they're going to be starting behind these guys that are on fresher tires than them, so they won't have the benefit of having fresher tires. They'll have to deal having worse tires than everybody ahead of them. And that's the thing about a two-stop strategy that can bite you. Untimely caution can undo everything that you just tried to do. Yep. So, guys that benefited, I mentioned, Moreno and Hopp stayed out, Olsen had stayed out, Dylan Parker as well, O'Brien's were top 10 runners. How about Gabriel Dahari? The dash for Brad. He's currently in 6th place, just ahead of Youssef Ghali. Brett Bennett, Aiden Porter, they're in the top 10. Same with Nicholas Baumann, they are all in the top 10 because of that decision to stay out, to not pit yet. They get a caution, and just like that, they're in the top 10 running right now. Pacheco recovers in 11th now, Enrique Cucalan is 12th. I believe Jeffrey Armistead finds himself in 13th, possibly. President's right up here as well. Oscar Enriquez in the top 15. Let's go back to what I believe is going to be scored. I believe 18th place for your wave around cars, starting with Steven Maggio in the 51 machine. He's making his way around, trying to catch up to the field. Austin Doran, Jonathan Parker, Dane Cruz, Michael Walls, Gino Mero, some of the big names head back for Michael Kruger get stuck because of that two-stop call, but someone who benefits from it somehow, a little bit, if even a little bit. Francisco Bacayo is able to come down pit lane and take a fresh set of tires while being back on the lead lap. He's at least got that going for him.
Big winners of that, Brett Bennett, Jaden Porter, who were documenting before we got that yellow, who just elected to stay out. They came down, got fresh tires here. But guys like Jaden Hopp and Ethan Fonseca Moreno really almost dodged a bullet, because I'm pretty sure they were probably going to consider coming down within the next couple laps before that yellow did come out.
If I think I know Ethan, and sometimes I don't, I think he was definitely going to try to ride out a one-stop strategy. He did that, number 99. The lap times he was putting down were really good, to where the two-stop would not have been beneficial. I think that's what he was going for. So that's what I think. He was perfectly fine with the caution coming out, because, hey, I don't have to worry about pitting on the green. I can just take my pit stop and stay ahead of everybody who would already pit. Pace car's off. It's Moreno leading. Jaden Hopp is second as they're coming around to get to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is going to fly. We are back to racing here at Phoenix. Fan out in the dog leg, trying to make up spots. CRD3 Watt going at Youssef Ghali on the inside, shoving it in there to make it work. Inside of Matthew J. O'Brien, he gets by now. He's inside of Youssef, or Dylan Parker, pardon me. Excuse me, trying to get there, couldn't get there.
This restart was so far a little bit more orderly than the initial start of the race, but as you see in the back, it's going to start to fan out here as we hit lap number 2 of the start. We got a crash going on the back.
It's Gino Mero around, I think the outside wall. No, it's a yellow car. It's Dane Cruz, the one machine. Spawning to the outside wall, and just like that, stack them back up. Another caution flies. It looks like a black flag as well for Francisco Bacayo in the 30 machine. So we'll take a look at your BRN replay. We'll see what happened to Cruise Missile. How did he wind up into the outside wall? It looks like some typical 3 wide into turn 3 that leads to, well, yeah, so actually, no, Jonathan Parker gets in the back of the 1 machine. Moves down the track as Dane goes into the outside wall. Here. See, Merrill was involved. Not a lot crazy there. What puts the one machine into the outside wall. JP involved. Right on board with him and see what he saw. And down to turn number 3.
Yeah, it's to me like this was just a misjudgment of space. And it's really, really easy to do here in turn 3 at Phoenix.
Well, right there on the onboard, JP was just about 3 wide there. Outside of Blaine Sparling, inside of Dane Cruz, just the hole kind of closed up, and it's like that. You're into somebody, you're spinning, they're spinning, and caution. This benefits the drivers who hadn't, who had to pit under green. They're able to make a pit stop and get fresh tires, be back in the mix on fresh tires with everybody. All the unlimited tires you got 7 sets, might as well use them. But what shocks me, didn't hop back down to pit in the 81 machine.
Yeah, that was an interesting call from him, considering he was second there on that restart.
Second had
So
already
we'll
been
see.
down pit road, and that's
Yeah,
too sure on that one.
interesting call. We'll have to see. We'll have to update everybody on his progress after this. Maybe he knows something we don't. Maybe he thinks that a couple extra laps are going to be beneficial for him on tires in the long term. But that would be assuming we get another long run, maybe. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with him.
I fail to see how that's a factor, especially considering he will now be 22nd when we restart. Really intriguing call by the 81. Not too sure how it pans out. We're going back double file.
Yeah, track position is really important here. Not like Kansas last week where it was wide, you had a lot of room to work. Passing guys is really hard here at Phoenix. So maybe he's confident that he can work through this traffic and get back up there to the front, but interesting call for sure.
See what happens. Running on up to the field. So here we go. Moreno on the inside, Olsen on the outside now for this restart. Going up on lap number 68. Green flag gonna fly. Moreno launches, gets the field going. The outside lane stacking up behind Bridger Olsen. And there you see them all fan out down the dog leg, heading into turn 1. Oh, and Dan Porter's around! Dahari! And they're gonna stack him up big time here in turn 1.
It's a parking lot down there. Goodness.
Jonathan Jurgensmeyer sitting sideways. Up against the wall, Chris Downing, the 27's involved.
It's that old saying, cautions breed cautions. Chris Downey, big damage on the front of him.
Gotta go all the way back and show you what happened on this restart with Jaden Porter. He was in the top 10 on this restart.
Leave.
Oh, right there. Gabriel Dahari gets into the back of the 28. Sitting on the track, Nicholas Bauman nowhere to go. Same with Rivers Jones, Ben Pafford, Chris Downey, Stephen Maggio, Jaden Hopp as well. Going to get a piece of it. There's Jonathan Jurgensmeyer spun out there on the bottom lane. You see it right here into turn 1. Porter gets turned and going to the field and somehow, some way.
Just coming up off the middle of the dog leg. Gabriel had a run. Looks like when his car shot back up into the banking, just shot him straight into Jaden Porter, who was kind of in the center, not in the center of the track, but just a little bit farther off the wall.
Oscar Enriquez had a good view, somehow missed that. Taraj just about missed it. Same with the 40 of Jonathan Parker, but they make contact. We'll take a ride on board with Oscar Enriquez and see how on earth this 56 does not find himself involved in this one. Piece of Dahari. Good been a lot worse than that 56.
Yeah. And there were a lot of cars involved in this wreck that got damaged, but it didn't look too bad. I was looking at most of them. The damage that they got didn't seem, they weren't meatball. They weren't, their races weren't killed. So most of these guys will live to see another day. But as this was all happening, Francisco Bacayo has disconnected. So we'll have to follow up on what was happening with him. So we get set up for another restart here.
We'll dive off, and Moreno will lead the field again. This time on his outside lane, it's Dylan Parker in the 3 machine. That will be lining up with him in the front row. Try this again. Moreno, Parker, Olsen, Gali, O'Brien, Bennett, Van Oostendorp, Enriquez. Then it's Kukulon and Armistead, the top 10, heading for the Geico restart zone. Moreno playing some games. He catches Dylan sleeping. Green flag back in the air.
Almost a mirror image of the last restart. We'll see how they fare as we go off into turn 1. Now, one thing I'll restart. A lot of those drivers involved in that wreck were guys that were caught a lap down and had to take the wave around. They go 3 wide for maybe second. Dylan Parker tucks back in line.
Go 3 wide further
These
back.
restarts.
They're trying to fight for any spot they can. Further back in this field, Michael Walls fighting on the inside, that LSU 24 machine. The white and purple, he is pushing forward here in 17th, just trying to keep marching forward if he can. A lot of guys up front as well, just kind of shuffling, holding everybody up. Maybe just dropping people back. Carson and New York battling here in the top 5 as they keep switching spots here. They're trying to move forward in one machine. For 3 wide, Enrique Kukulon backs out of it. Armistead and Bennett are on his outside. 3 teammates all right there together as they're still double file behind the 47 and the 80.
And these guys are so far doing a really good job of giving each other enough space. Not really crowding each other too much. You like to see that as Enrique goes all the way to the bottom there. Puts the block for a moment on Michael Kruger.
That 80 machine was turned into the outside wall earlier in this race. He finds himself in the top 10 right now. Oh no! Michael Kruger, contact with Brody Falliker. Saves it. Sky McGurk backs out of it as well a little bit. Further ahead, but Kruger dropping spots here in the 4100 contact with Brody Falliker. Still, though, pointing in the right direction, didn't go around, but he is back in the Hornet's Nest big time.
That was actually a little bit of netcode from Brody Falliker when he slid up the track in turn 3 up into Michael Kruger. It was a little bit of netcode, but luckily they were able to come out of it unscathed. Or like you're saying, Jeffrey Armistead didn't really get any damage from his incident, but through all the drama that's happened these last few laps with these cautions, like I said, he's back. He's in 8th place right now.
Right up here as well in the mix, Francis Hamilton right down the outside of Michael Kruger, ahead of Jonathan Parker. 37 machine doing pretty good for himself up here in the top 20. I'm running 18. Outside lane is the job so far, but up front, battle for the leads. Slowly heating up. I think Bridger Olsen starting to reel in. Maybe about taking right a little bit.
Yeah, we can't go a race without mentioning how good this Cruise Auto Racing team has been running this season, especially with last week. How good Yusuf was, ended up walking into that win at the end of the race. Dan Cruz was good, but here's Bridger Olsen carrying the flag for this team right now as he's trying to hunt down Ethan. And Dylan Parker's hanging in there. He's getting with it, right just behind these guys.
They're still all right together, not really letting anybody get away from each other. They're nice and tight for the top 3 at the moment. Yusuf Gali mentioned last week's winner in 4th. New Cruise Auto Racing machines in the top 5.
How about an update of these Dash for Bread guys? Yusuf Gali. So we got a caution coming out here. So to say we got these Dash for Bread guys running in the top 5. Yusuf Gali running 4th, leading that charge, but we'll have to take a look at what happened here to bring out this latest caution.
Looked like a spin on the backstretch for Jacob Locklear in the 84 machine. He goes around, goes for a spin, and puts us under the yellow flag once again. We'll take a look and see what happened. Locklear on the backstretch. Actually, it looks like that starts further ahead. That's Enrique Cugelon, I believe, that has an issue on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, looked like he just got off camber and just held the brake there, and Locklear was going to miss it. Got loose. He didn't hit anything there.
Slides down the backstretch. Wall or anything else. Still going to bring out the caution flag yet again here tonight. Looks like everybody going to come to pit road. Might as well come in and take some extra tires while you can.
Why not? 7 sets. That's a lot. We went we had a good chunk of laps there before we got this caution. And this is going to be a good opportunity for a couple of these guys that wrecked out in that big one that we saw to fix a little bit of their damage. I was looking at Steven Maggio back there. He still had a little bit of bit of damage. Gabriel Dahari as well. How about Justin Rott staying out here?
Rott stays out. Race off pit road. It's won by Ethan Fonseca Moreno over Bridger Olson and Dylan Parker.
Jaden Hopp, I don't know if we missed this, but Jaden Hopp has a good bit of damage to his rear end. Not sure when that occurred, but you got to think if he's kicking himself or coming down pit road, whether that happened just after he had come down pit road for the second time in just a few laps.
Yeah, it's just been a bad decision gone worse for Jaden Hopp now, finding himself further back in the with damage from it. Now he's going to have to just try to fight for a good finish. Our pole sitter finds himself 28th place. So Justin Rott is your race leader, electing to stay out here under this caution. Fonseca Moreno lines up to his outside, and it's Bridger Olson, Dylan Parker, Steph Gali, out 5. Guys in, Justin Rott will be the control car when we get back to the restart zone. Way down the back stretch, double file. Everybody trying to sort things out as they catch back up to the field. Pace car going down pit lane, heading into turn 3. Of course, the restart zone right here near the exit of turn number 4. Justin Rott can launch whenever he wants in this box right here. He'll match it right there. Goes back to racing here at Phoenix.
Another good launch for that inside lane. It's really been the lane to choose if you're the leader tonight.
Olson trying to take advantage of Moreno not being the leader and jumping out ahead. He's trying to get by that 99 machine, working on the inside lane.
Panning out in the back. Who dives it into the inside. There's a nice little fight for position between Yusuf Gali back there.
Oh, slow and sliding. He saves it. It's Andretti Robinson. Slid off the exit of turn 4 and maybe some contact, but he's able to hang on to it as Moreno now charging on the outside for the race lead.
Yeah, he must have hit the apron a little bit and slid all the way through the corner, but he was able to hang on to it, no yellow.
4 drivers having trouble further back and stack up behind Enrique Cugelon, Jacob Locklear, Steven Maggio one as well, slow on the racetrack.
You got to pass to the lead. Ethan Fonseca Moreno is taking it back over.
Not trying to stay with them on slightly older tires, just not able to do so. Now to the inside, trying to peak for second.
I think he's going to end up getting it. Not sure if Justin can hang on here. Now his tires aren't too much older, I believe, but still. I'm actually impressed with how good he's been able to hang in here. See, he goes up to the top. Just gonna kind of let these guys get to his inside. He's already winning on strategy as we speak right now, so no need to make it any worse.
Yeah, the tires are 11 laps older than the rest of the field, but there was a lot of that was run under caution. Not a lot of green flag laps on those tires. Because of that, it's really, he's able to stay up and compete with these leaders. He doesn't have to worry about it because he hit a caution 2 cautions prior. So you don't worry about getting new tires when your tires are pretty much.
Bridger Olson's getting just a little bit closer to Ethan Fonseca Moreno. Couldn't quite get to his back bumper there in turn 3. As you see, he gets a little bit loose in the center of the corner, and on the exit, that's going to allow Bridger Olson to close right back up to his rear bumper. Bridger's got a good run here. I think he's going to end up getting him here as we go down into turn 1. If he can dive it to the inside enough to clear, maybe not, but Ethan's going to get a run off the top. That top to middle lane on new tires is just really, really successful.
Dylan Parker right there in third. You know he was thinking about trying to sit it 3
Yeah.
wide. He wanted to force it, but right there, Olson forcing himself clear. Bridger Olson takes the lead here at Phoenix. Here comes Dylan Parker for second.
Great move by Olson to hang in there and be patient to get that pass done. But I'm looking at Dylan Parker right now. He just made quick work of Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And Dylan's kind of had a slow climb up to the front here. So we'll see what he can do now as he goes down to try to chase the leader.
4/10 is the gap between Olson and Parker right now as they make it 1 and 2, heading down into turns 1 and 2. Justin Rott now in the mix of a big gaggle of cars. You said Golly in 6th. There's Gino Mero. He's right there with JP and Michael Walls as well. Just trying to sort things out. Everybody trying to make it through, make it by this 76. He's struggling a little bit on these slightly older tires compared to the rest of the field.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the bleeding has started for Justin. He's in the middle of a couple of cars who are coming up through the field after being involved in a couple wrecks. They're on newer tires as well. This is not the position you want to be. I know he's only in 8th place right now, under fire now for 9th. Definitely not as bad as it could be, but it's not getting any better.
It's the bailout. I don't believe they're actual proper teammates in the league. JP, Michael Walls, and Justin Rott, but all racing together. Definitely going to get a bit of it out from those guys to let him kind of not get back as far. And now he comes up to Brody Falliker. Doesn't care about that. He wants the position. He wants to go for a top 10 spot.
Yeah, Brody Falliker still hanging in there. The blinking has slowed for him on my end. As he blinks right when I say that.
It's not really slowed down. It's stayed consistent.
It's stayed consistent. That's the first time. This is the first time I've kind of paid attention to him in a while, but he is still blinking. But it's not really slowing him down, and he's knocking on the door of the 10th place right now.
I'll tell you who I'm keeping my eyes on right now as this run continues to go on. The 46 of Gino Mero. Just at the fastest lap on the racetrack just now. He is in 6th place. That 46 has got some speed. I think if we get a good enough run here going, he could be a contender for this race win. But up front, it's still Bridger Olson leading the charge here, looking to get his 2nd win in the last 3 weeks. But Dylan Parker, hot on his trails, the winningest driver in Slide Job Racing League history, wants to see if he can add another one here today, looking for win number 36.
As these guys start to race it out, I was actually, as soon as you mentioned Gino Mero, I was going to mention him as well, because he's on a charge that I don't think I've seen many drivers in this field go on tonight. I wonder how his tires are handling with that. But I'm looking at guys like Ethan Moreno, maybe Matthew J. O'Brien, who just aren't really pushing it as hard. Still running pretty decent lap times. But you gotta just think of how these guys up at the front, Dylan Parker, Bridger Olson, are maybe pushing their tires. Thinking long-term strategy, if we do get another run here to the end, we're just shy of 50 laps remaining.
That we're basing the lap time fall off of their best lap time they posted so far this race. So it's not actually based on what their best lap time on this run is. So right now, the last time by for Bridger Olson was a 27.8. That is about a 0.6 of a second fall off from his fastest lap he's run. Same thing goes for Dylan Parker, about a 6-7 of a second fall off from their fastest laps of the race. As things stand right now, coming up on lap number 100 with a 51 laps to go this time by. They have been on their tires for 18 laps. They're going to maybe split down the middle, possibly if you pit again. And that's what we're probably going to see is some guys try to pit again, take some fresh tires here soon, and try to just rip and ride to the front of the field. I'm not sure when it will be. I don't think they split in the middle. They want to give themselves time to catch back up. But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if everybody rides it on this set of tires because I believe this is within the fuel window to make it to the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely well within the fuel window. It wouldn't shock me if a couple guys come down early, but I think if that's the case, I think it's going to be like the first run, where it really was, like you said, almost split down the middle between guys that wanted to stay out and guys that wanted to come early. And I could see the benefit both ways. Like if we see an untimely yellow once again, it could really play in the favor of whoever's on the winning side of that strategy, but still a long way to go. 50 laps is a long time, and we still have a lot of strategy to go through. And we could also get those yellows.
Here's where that fall off starts big time. Almost off a cliff there that last two times by. Bridger Olson in 28.2, Dylan Parker at 28.4, Ethan Van Marino a 28 flat. 99 was really good on the long run with saving tires. He's doing so again right now. And I think we're going to see that 99 quickly get to the lead, and he'll be one of those drivers if they are good on fuel. It's a big if. We're not too sure yet, though. And if they are good on fuel, that 99 is not pitting. He is staying out the rest of this way because his fall off was only about 1.5 seconds compared to the other guys who were dropping 2 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds. But if I'm Bridger Olson, pretty big Dylan Parker fan right now, and I'm cheering on that number 3 machine to hold off Moreno and O'Brien, who are both starting to charge. They are starting to roll up on that 3 machine and putting faster lap times down by each turn of this lap. These laps.
It didn't surprise me one bit when Ethan decided to back out of that battle between Bridger and Dylan when it started. And Dylan's a hard pass here. He's going to be a hard pass. A lot on the line here. So that's definitely not necessarily going to work in Ethan's favor. He drifts way up the track. Try and build a run.
If you were to ask our BRN colleague Ben Smith what Dylan Parker's like, he would probably tell you he's like a kidney stone. He is so hard to pass, and you are going to have to fight with all you got just to get by the 3 machine, much the less trying to chase down the 2 right afterwards. So that's what Moreno's going to have to work on. He's going to have to find a way around Dylan Parker quick if he wants to chase down Olson. Maybe even so, just let Dylan hunt down Olson, and then just follow along and just take the positions as they come.
The lap times have actually kind of evened out for the most part. Actually, Dylan Parker just a little bit faster that last time by between these top running guys.
Really after that, Bridger Olson just went fastest of the field, 28.140.
You see him running that low line in turns 1 and 2. That's really helping out his tires as opposed to guys like Dylan Parker running that kind of middle up, one up maybe from the second seam to build a run. Bridger Olson is not really wasting too much on his tires in turns 1 and 2, but that could mean he sacrifices a little bit of lap time, but it's obviously not working against him because he's running really good laps.
Comparative, if not better, than the guys behind him, like Parker, Moreno, O'Brien, and now coming up in the mix in 5th place, Austin Doran. Starting to catch up. He's throwing his hat in the ring now for this battle for the lead. He's not won here in the Sled Job Racing League yet. He's a winner, of course, on BRN. On Wednesday nights, we ran the NASCAR Motor Stardom Cup Series, but in first Slide Job win with tonight be the night 52 on Victory Lane.
It wouldn't shock me. He heartbreak last week. He had to serve that EOL for being one of those drivers that went below the white line, rather, on that last restart. Looking for a little bit of redemption tonight. He's had a pretty decent season. He's had a lot of good speed in that 52 car.
You can see it right here. Top 9 are all within about 2.5 seconds, just about, give or take. And then there's a massive drop-off to the 24 Michael Walls, currently running in 10th.
Yeah.
Brett Bennett, Jeffrey Armstead right now 11th and 12th. Just talking about the runs for them, and Francis Hamilton as well in 13th. These guys were shuffled in the back of the field, started out back. You know, Brett Bennett started in 32nd, Armstead 31st, Hamilton 29th, and they are up here now in the top 15, knocking on the door of the top 10.
And then back to Justin Rott. He's kind of stabled his progression right now. He's fallen back to 15th and hasn't really lost too much time. He's actually not running too far off the leader's lap time, maybe a 10th here and there, maybe 2 tenths rather. But then you got guys like Michael Kruger, who has a lot of damage in the front end of his car. Guys that were running really well at the beginning of this race, back here in the lower portions of the top 20. Steven Maggio back to 23rd. Jacob Locklear, Gabriel Dehari, still nursing that car around. He's had a handful. He's got a lot of damage on that left front. Dane Cruz as well. So just an unfortunate run for a lot of those guys who we expected to run really well.
And behind them, the two Jadens, Jaden Porter, and to fight his way from 40th place to catch up. The damage sustained in that accident there with Dehari puts him at a disadvantage back in 30th again, and Jaden Hopp right behind the pole sitter. A weird strategy call that didn't play out in his favor. Got him some damage and shuffled him out back, stuck him in 31st, and likely nowhere to go for this 81 to keep marching forward. So coming across the stripe this time, it's going to be lap 114. Matt says we should have about maybe 37 laps to go. That time by. Would not expect to see pit stops then, it looks like. We're at lap 32 on the stint these drivers are on right now. I'll show you how we're rolling right now with the stints on the ticker. You see we have 32 laps with 37 laps to go. Indeed, they had to pit in the next maybe 2 or 3 laps. If we were to see anybody maybe take this gamble, trying to make a pit stop. Oscar Enriquez losing time, some damage possibly on the 56. He'll go a lap down to the field. But if you were to see a pit stop, it would be coming maybe in the next lap or 2. But I don't think we're going to have any pit stops. I think nobody's going to split this. I think everybody's just going to run it to the end on this set of tires they're on. But right now, pass for second. Here it comes at 99 to be the Fonseca Moreno to the inside of Dylan Parker. This is for second.
Look at Ethan sliding up off the bottom of that corner. And this is that point in the run where those tires are just starting to just drift away into kind of no man's land, where you just don't have the help that you had at the beginning of the run. But I think, I don't think Matt says we can run the rest of the way, but I would not be shocked if we get another yellow. But what does that mean for guys that maybe want to gamble here? Guys maybe in the back, maybe around, top 10, Michael Walls, Brett Bennett, one of these guys in the lower top 10s or even further back in the field, who are kind of in the range to maybe do something, maybe get close to the front if they gamble. It's going to be close, but it's not. I don't think it's really going to work out in any positive manner.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to take the risk. If they were going to take the risk, they would have taken it laps ago. They would have taken that risk out of pit lane and made a pit stop multiple laps ago, because you're out of time at this point. You're coming around to almost 30 laps to go, and you have to unlap yourself and then make up spots. It's just not feasible right now. The lap time fall off is about 1.5 seconds, if even, for the field right now on the tires they're on right now. So you're not really going to make up that much time to where it will matter, where you'll benefit. Most that we'll see anybody probably pit is Justin Rott might have to pit. I don't know if he'll be able to make it on fuel. It'll be close for the 76, I believe, but we'll see if he can make it. The rest of the field, they should be good to go on fuel, and they're just going to ride these tires out. But what I noticed too, though, Dylan Parker is starting to get away from Moreno, and he's starting to try to reel back in Bridger Olson. If he can do that, that's going to be probably that race for the win. But Olsen's just trying to say, please, let Moreno catch that 3 again. Please let Moreno battle that 3 again. He wants to see if he can go for 2 wins to kick off the season.
Yeah, what a story that would be for Bridger. And speaking of points, that would be a big points boost for him because Steven Maggio, Dane Cruz are both having their struggles. There is Yusuf Ghali who's kind of hanging out. He's hanging out in 7th place right now. But a lot of guys that are hanging in the top 10 in points are just not having the nights that I kind of think that they probably needed to fend off a guy like Bridger Olsen in points. So he's in a really good spot here.
Part of that was because of that incident that happened earlier in the race with Gabriel Dahari and Jaden Porter heading to turn 1 of the restart. Dahari coming up into Porter and spinning him around in front of the field really was the difference maker in this race, I believe. That really shook up the running order of the field. But of course, the caution during the green flag cycle was the factor that really shuffled those guys back in that position in the first place, put them back here together. So that's really what you can point to for some of these guys. Maybe like the Michael Cooper and say, that's where my race was ruined. A green flag, pit cycle was underway, got a caution, and completely threw our strategy out the window, and it really ruined our race. Right now, one guy who's happy about how it's played out is Bridger Olsen. Right now, leading the field still. At lap number 123, called about 28 laps to go. Dylan Parker as well in second, really happy with how things have played out. Same with Moreno, who finds himself in third with a shot still to win. I wouldn't count on anybody in this top 9 right now. They're still within striking distance. They're still not really fading back from anybody. You know, Mero is about 6/10 back of the guy ahead of him, Austin Doran. But even then, I still feel like he's still going to have a good shot. The longer this run goes, the more these guys burn their tires. They get towards those last like 5 or 10 laps. If it stays green, it's going to be a slugfest.
Now, that's the big if it stays green. And I don't want to jinx anything, but I don't really have the math in front of me, but I do believe this, if this goes green all the way to the end, this will be the longest green flag stint of the race. Can I get a fact check on that? If I believe it will be the longest green flag stint. So that, you know, that could be big as far as getting down to those last few laps. If it gets physical, it's going to get physical quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We were 59 laps on that first opening green flag run until we got our first caution in the race. Now we are about lap 42, maybe 41. We go green to the end, we will definitely have the longest green flag run of the night tonight. That's what Olsen wants, I think. I think he wants it to stay green. He's got 25 laps left in this race. Dylan Parker, thinking about taking Moreno, Matthew J. O'Brien, and Austin Doran. A bunch of drivers that are very capable of pulling something off here right on his tail.
See back there, Ethan is getting really loose. I think his tires are starting to scream at him. Getting really loose off the exit of turn 2. And Austin Doran's trying something. He was going up there to the very top to try and get a run on Matthew J. O'Brien. So they're still able to really move around here. And I think that's really going to continue as Dylan Parker closes to the back of Bridger Olsen. Just a little bit, little by little each lap.
Not really making big swings yet in the 3 machine. But it's bit by bit, and that's all that matters. Faster each lap. That by only just barely faster. Actually, just barely slower that time compared to Bridger Olsen. Did you see that swing? He takes a shot into turn 1. Rolls in deep. But that's where he loses the time, though, on the backstretch. Olsen able to get a better run at 3, but I think he's experimenting, trying to see what he can get away with here in these last laps. But you see where all that time he loses is more so in 3 and 4 than it is for 1 and 2. It's just going to come down to who gets the better runs in the corners. Right now,
look at
Dylan really rolls it in there into 1 and 2.
Yeah, he is just really good on corner entry right now, but Bridger Olsen's just a little bit better on corner exit, getting up off the bottom. And what a win it would be if Bridger Olsen can get a second win on the season after waiting so long to get, I believe, career win number, you're going to have to back me up on this, I think it was career win number 6.
Career win number 3.
Maybe not. 3.
Win number 3
That's
for Bridger back at Daytona. He won his first 2 races in season 9. He was a contender for the championship that season. They ended up going to, I believe, it was Dalton Kilroe, who took home the championship in season 9 over Bridger Olson, who put a hard-fought valiant effort, just came up short in that battle. And after that, he, like I said, he's had so many races that have gone his way until it didn't. In the very end, just bad luck would take him out of the lead, or somebody would have a faster lap and push by him at the end. Just something would happen to take Bridger out of contention. Finally won Daytona, and I think that was what he needed. That's what the doctor ordered from Bridger. He's got his confidence back. He knows he can go out there and compete for the wins. He knows he can run. He knows he can finish them off. That's going to help him this season. Right now we see it as well. Riding up in front, leading now by 7/10 of a second. Dylan Parker off a cliff just now. As he leads the way.
Dylan's fading. Got to wonder if maybe he's got one last shot left in the tank. As we're just these laps just keep closing down. And Bridger looks like he's on tracks right now. And actually, last time we came to Phoenix, Bridger Olson finished second to the guy in third right now, Ethan Fonseca Moreno. So maybe something in the back of his mind.
Moreno under fire from Matthew O'Brien. That's what Dylan Parker needs to see. He needs that 99 and that 43 to battle for that position. But he can just focus out front. He's also having to look in the mirror and see that 99 rolling up on his rear bumper, trying to cross over to the inside. Here comes Moreno trying to get to second.
Both those cars are not driving the way they were early on in the stint for sure, as they don't quite get to the bottom. Both of them kind of ran that second lane up off the bottom, as Dylan is now in protection mode.
Dylan just doing anything he can to hold on to this.
He does not want Ethan to get by him. He's looking to see he went up to the top to block his advance. Time's running out. Does he give the bumper? Maybe a little bit there.
We might use him up, and he'll clear. Moreno up to second. Dylan Parker crossing back over to the inside.
This is the battle to keep your eye on. This could get ugly as Dylan watches up the track.
Oh, Dylan Moreno!
Yeah, I thought he was going to put him into the wall, but he doesn't quite. They're still banging doors as they go down the back.
If they're not careful, it's going to end up being real ugly. Here at the end, this is O'Brien now going to go on the inside. These two fight. Oh, Austin Doran in the outside wall!
I thought Austin Doran was going to be the crafty one out of that bunch, but he slammed the wall.
Meanwhile, O'Brien trying the middle here between Parker and Moreno. Contact there between Parker and O'Brien. Doran trying to hang on for it now as they battle again for second. And it's 15 to go. The 72 diecast, 15 to go. Make it 14 to go. Still hard battling for this third spot right now.
Dylan Parker on full display right now. He's going to surrender that spot to Matthew. He gave it his all. And boy, was that a little fun battle to watch, but you got to think if that really was the final nail in the coffin for maybe Ethan to try and get up to Bridger by spending a lot of time behind Dylan, battling with him.
Could be all she wrote for the rest of this field.
Further back, Yusuf Ghali is in really good position to get Ryan Bogey's money. He's battling pretty hard with Gino Mero and Brody Falliker right now.
Back of Mero almost there, trying to get by. Here comes Falliker on the outside. Ghali on the inside of Mero. That's for 6th place right now. And Ghali's in a good position to get Bogey's bread and the dash for Brad, but they're 3 wide right now. Falliker on the outside, Mero in the middle. It's Ghali, and now swap it out for Parker. It's Jonathan Parker on the inside. He'll back out as they're still side by side behind Ghali, battling for 7th. And this is the time now where you got to wonder if you're Bridger Olson, you have got a 1.2 second gap. It's Moreno and O'Brien duking it out for 2nd place. Dylan Parker fading back into 4th. Austin Doran still finds himself in 5th. And the battle on for 6th between Ghali and Falliker. Bridger Olson in the back of his mind knows this race is not going green to the end. That's all he's thinking about right now. All he's thinking about is what accident is going to happen that's going to take me out of contention for this lead. What's going to throw a wrench in my plans with 10 laps to go? Is it really going to be green to the end?
He's thinking, please do not wreck everybody else in the field. And there's a couple cars that are multiple laps down that came down pit road just for insurance purposes to try and see what they can do. And one of those cars is actually right behind Bridge through second and third. And now he's going to take the outside around Bridger. And if there is going to be anything happening, I think it's going to happen between a couple cars that maybe came down pit road to get tires.
Gallagher and Galley battling for sixth still. Battle on for second still between O'Brien and Moreno for the runner-up spot here behind Bridger Olsen. Side by side, Brian can't get power down in the backstretch, so it will be Moreno who takes over second and hangs on to it for now. Galley and Fowler still there. Jonathan Parker still right there as well.
Yeah, it's getting down to that point where it's now or never if Ethan wants to make a push. Thought Matthew maybe had something to get around Ethan and maybe make a charge, but I think his tires are probably saying that they're down for the count here.
Ethan needs to mount a run in 7 laps to cut into a 1.2 second gap. Can he overcome it? We'll see what happens. Jaden Porter up ahead of the race leader. He's teammates with Monteca Moreno, running that same line that Olsen wanted, kind of giving a little dirty air to the 2 machine. Is that going to maybe affect the handling here? See Porter running just a little bit low, not too low. It's enough to be out of the way.
He's nursing a lot of damage as well, so hopefully he gets clear and out of the way in short order.
Wilson tucking in behind the 28 machine. He'll cut down to the inside, likely here down the backstretch to get around her. But wait, so
Porter is
turn 3. He'll stay behind that 28 machine. Now will slide up, but not really affecting him. It's not really holding him up as much as I thought it would. Moreno's still not able to reel in this leader. You'll see right here the swing he makes into turn 1, cuts it down with under a second, then immediately loses all that time back to Bridger Olsen. Continues to lead away with 5 to go to the inside of the lap car now, trying to get there on the backstretch. Porter gets the wall. Olsen trying to get by on the inside lane. He'll get to the inside of that 28. Put him the lap down. We got a slow car on the track. Pitting, actually, is Gino Mero coming to pit road.
Coming down pit road. Gotta wonder if he was maybe low on fuel.
Maybe he had auto fuel on and it didn't get him enough fuel. That could have been what happened. Battle for 4th. Austin Dorn to the inside of Dylan Parker. This is position 4. It's going to be Dorn who's going to take it over Dylan Parker. Going to try to hang on there, fight his way forward. 4 laps to go. He had a pit stop. Somebody had to come. Who else might run out of fuel here at the end of this one?
Some guys in the back, and Bridger Olsen was having a tough time getting around the lap car of Jaden Porter, but he finally is able to get around him. And this time by, he's only going to have 2 laps to go, and he is praying right now that nothing goes wrong.
Falker to 5th, and the outside of Dylan Parker. Now it's a Parker battle. Dylan and Jonathan heading together now in a battle for what could be 6th if Falker can clear for the top 5. P to the inside, trying to make it stick on the inside of the 3 machine. Bridger Olsen, though, up front. We're going to go back to focusing on him. The battle on for second between Moreno and O'Brien. But out in front, he's hoping to limp around to the white flag. Does not need a caution. Got a slow car. Yusuf Ghali's slow, but he's back rolling. It's going to be okay. The white flag is going to fly. One final lap here at Phoenix.
Bridger Olsen really was the class of the field in this last stint. Had a little help from those cautions, but it's looking to me like he's going to take a second trip to victory lane this season.
It's taken him 3 years to find victory lane again at Daytona. He comes in week number 3, and how about winning his 2nd race this season? It's Bridger Olsen coming to victory lane here at Phoenix.
Excellent job, excellent work for Bridger. And how about Cruise Auto Racing? I mean, this team is just unstoppable this season. 3 races, 3 wins.
Great win for Bridger Olson. Make it 2 in 3 races.
And I believe with that, Yusuf Ghali, who almost went around in turn 2 with 2 to go, is going to be all right. He's going to hang on for 9th place, and he's going to win the bread for tonight.
Money in the pocket of Yusuf Ghali. Next week, we'll be racing Bridger Olson, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Matthew J. O'Brien, and Austin Doran, the 4 drivers who will be battling for that cash prize. But tonight, burning it down will be the driver of the 2. Bridger Olson brings it back to the front stretch. There's his teammate, his owner, Dane Cruz. Nose to nose, they'll go. Trying to burn it down. Here comes Jacob Locklear in the picture. Trying to see
all these guys.
Celebrate. Everybody going to get together here. But Bridger Olson, your winner here. The 2nd time he's found victory lane this season. And Cruz Auto Racing will go 3 in a row. The wins by Olson, and then the win by Ghali last week.
Yeah, these guys have just found a way to be successful on each type of track. Gotta hand it to them. Great team they got.
He might be heading for victory lane. One of the few tracks that has an active victory lane you can get to here in iRacing, and that's what Bridger Olson is heading for right here. He's going to cut it in. Dane's going to lead the way here, and they're going to set them all up here on victory lane. Bridger will pull up into it. He'll park it in victory lane. Bridger Olson, your winner here at Phoenix. We'll take a look at your finishing results for tonight's race. Bridger Olson takes his 2nd win of the season here. Back to form for the 2 machine, it looks like, winning here at Phoenix. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, the defending race winner at this track. He'll come home with a 2nd place finish. Matthew J. O'Brien follows up with a good 3rd place run. Austin Doran in 4th. And how about that run by Brody Falliker to get up to 5th there at the end of this one? Jonathan Parker in 6th. Michael Walls will come home 7th. Dylan Parker in 8th. Yusuf Ghali, mentioned the Dash for Breadwinner, will come home in 9th place today. And a great recovery as well for Jeffrey Armistead, who finished tonight's race in 10th.
Yeah, quiet night for Brett Bennett. Finishes in 11th place. Then back to Jimmy Cocker, coming home 12th. Bryson Bird, didn't really see him all race, but gets the job done, coming home with a nice 13th place finish. Then back to Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who was involved. And I believe that big crash that we saw in the middle of the race. Then Francis Hamilton, who was having a really good run, 15th. Christian Pacheco is kind of nursing it from the beginning of the race. Sky McGurk comes home 17th. Andretti Robinson, who had a half spin, comes home 18th. Then back to Jacob Locklear and Dane Cruz, who had some damage, comes home 20th. But his driver's in victory lane.
And 20th place ain't so bad when you got your car in victory lane. Gabriel Dehari, another Dash for Bread driver, comes home 21st after the incident earlier in this race. Enrique Cucolon will finish 22nd in the 22 machine. Splain Sparling 23rd. Travis Van Usendorf will finish 24th. Joseph Berg 25th. It was Stephen Maggio up front early. Same with Jaden Hopp 26th and 27th, but damage sustained in that accident takes them out of it. They'll finish last cars in the lead lap. Jaden Porter 28th, 1 lap down. Gino Mero will finish 29th after having to pit late. Justin Rock rounds out your top 30.
Yeah, one of our Dash for Bread drivers, Rivers Jones, comes home 31st. Unfortunate night to him. He was just really not good all night, unfortunately. Then back to Michael Kruger, who was nursing damage. He was really fast at the start. Ben Bafford, who actually blinked out within the last 2 laps, ends up 2 laps down in 33rd. Then we got Shuey Alexander Schumacher down back 5 laps down in 34th. Oscar Enriquez back in 35th. Then to Declan George. And a couple drivers down here that ended up DNFing tonight. Nicholas Bauman, Chris Downey, Francisco Bacayo, Tyler Watermullen.
your field of 40 from tonight's race. Well, let's see if we can take a look. Talk to our drivers who finished on the podium tonight. First things first, I'm going to see if I can dial up the driver of the number 43, O'Brien. Hey, Matthew J. O'Brien, it's Dawson out in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, it's a third place run for you here tonight. You're able to pick up a good podium finish here after a hard-fought battle throughout that race. What was it like for you behind the wheel of the 43 machine?
I wish that that first caution never came out because I was one stop on that and was probably gonna win by a mile, but that didn't happen. That last run, like I felt like I was fastest. Is just can't pass. Like I mean it. There's not much you can do. Like it really felt like the only way you could pass is if you let them go or they hit like the cliff. Because like you probably saw on the broadcast, like that first run, like people were like pitting and like being really really slow because they were hitting the tire cliff. But yeah, I mean, happy with the speed because this is usually one of my worst tracks, but I've definitely figured some stuff out here. So the speed, the win was there tonight. It just track position was too important. It's crazy to say, yeah, like third place, yeah, I need more track position, but that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, but still, though, I mean, you got to look at the positive. At least getting a third place run tonight after a bit of a cataclysmic start to the season. It wasn't too great last week. At Kansas had issues there. Just kind of getting ready to roll along here this season. You know, defending your championship. What is that like for you? Just kind of getting back into the groove of things here behind the wheel of the 43.
Well, yeah, Kansas was comical, like this hilarious. So, like I was literally in 3 wrecks in 12 laps and meatballed. So, yeah, that was pretty much as bad as you can get. Championship wise, I'm honestly, it's not realistic this season just because of real life stuff that's probably coming up. So, not really too worried about that. So, sorry to be a bit of a killjoy on that for the end on that part. So.
Well, that's all fine and dandy, Matt, but it's still a third place run for you here tonight. Teammates, sponsors, shoutouts, what got it done for you here tonight?
Shout out to you guys, broadcast, and shout out to the guys that run the show. And then, yeah, I got next week Dash for Bread. I love Road America. It was definitely my best road course, but I haven't driven it in a very long time in a stock car just because nothing's really gone there. So, but looking really forward to it. I love Road America.
Right, your third place finisher, Matthew J. O'Brien. Looking forward to seeing you next week at Road America competing in the Dash for Bread. That is Matthew J. O'Brien.
Thank you.
That will be coming up. I don't think we'll get our second place finisher, Fonseca Moreno. Let's try it. I tried it. I don't think he wants to talk to us. That's fine. It is what it is. Happens. So instead, we will let Randy talk to the race winner 2 times on the season now for Bridger Olson, starting off on the right foot for that number 2 machine.
All right, let's talk with Bridger Olson. Back to victory lane a few weeks ago, Daytona. Back it up tonight. How does it feel to be back on top here in Slide Job?
It feels incredible. I can't believe I spent so long away from it.
It seemed like after about lap 85, you were just lights out on speed. You were good early in the run, but what did it take for you to have that winning pace that we saw there at the end of the race?
Yeah, Phoenix isn't a track I have a lot of experience on, so I wasn't really confident about my ability here. And during the first run, I just kind of took it easy. I ran at my own pace, and I ended up being pretty much the fastest car on track at the end of that run. So I was really confident what I was doing was correct. And then once I got the lead, I just tried to hang on to it to the best of my ability, and it worked out.
Well, if Daytona wasn't a big confidence booster, what's this like after winning here? What's this like going into the next week we have our first road course of the season? How are you feeling? You're sitting top 10 in points and probably even better tonight.
Yeah, I'm not confident about road courses. That's not really my thing. But yeah, it means everything. This is my first win at a real track since the season 10 All-Star race. So, yeah.
Well, man, good job. Anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any of your teammates? Maybe your team who's been unstoppable this season?
Yeah, shout out to Cruise Auto Racing, third in a row. Everybody there, all the men and women back at the shop, making these cars go really fast this season. They've been lights out. You guys for putting on a pretty decent broadcast, as always, and everybody who shows up to the league.
Oh, we appreciate that, Bridger. Great job on your win, 4th career win. Coming to Phoenix tonight, Bridger Olson.
Thank you.
A pretty decent podcast. Noted.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess we gotta do better, Dawson. I mean, I would expect that because I'm a booth rookie, realistically an iRacing rookie, but I feel like I'm getting the hang of it, and no, we've had a lot of fun. It was a good race we saw tonight.
Yeah, and I'm really happy with how this race turned out compared to last week at Kansas. A lot of just carnage, chaos, and everything. We had two long green flag runs there in this race, and we got to see strategies start to develop. And I was really, really excited. Like Matthew said, I was really thinking that one-stop strategy was going to be the winning strategy, and I was so excited to see it play out and see who could take advantage of it the most. I think Moreno was definitely going to be on the winning end of that. I think O'Brien was right maybe about being up there at the end, but I don't think he would have been the one winning if Moreno had done the one-stop as well. I think Moreno had too much pace, and I think his just his fall off wasn't as strong as others. I think he would have been able to hang on to it the most and competed for the win. But of course, the caution during the pit stops shook it all up, threw it all in a blender, and said there's no strategy anymore for that factor. Everybody who pit for the two-stop strategy pretty much get put in a hole, and then we saw the incident there with Jaden Porter and Gabriel DeHari that ended up being. But all in all, great run to the end there, a fun green flag run, lots of mixing it up front for the lead, and then finally Bridger Olson took off with it, and he was able to hang on and never look back, and picks up his second win this season. A much needed boost here for Bridger Olson, I think. Winning Daytona was one, but here winning tonight is definitely going to, I think, kickstart what could be a championship campaign for the driver of the number 2 machine. That'll do it from us here at Phoenix International Raceway here tonight. A great race, all in all. Bridger Olson coming home with the victory. But that's not all the racing we have this week here on BRN. Of course, we have our Thursday night action continuing to roll on. The Sofa Racing League getting ready to get their 3rd race in the round of 16, the elimination race. And guess what? We're coming right back here to Phoenix International Raceway this Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't want to miss it here on BRN. You want to tune in and catch that. 16 drivers enter that race at Phoenix with a chance still at a championship, but after that race, we'll cut the field down to 10 drivers. 10 drivers will go on in their journey for a championship. I want to thank you to all the drivers for coming out tonight. Here we had a lot of people show up, 53 in total. 40 drivers made the field, and of course it all came down to a long run to the end, 68 laps give or take, the longest green flag run tonight here. And thank you to Randy Payne for joining me in the booth as always. Thank you to all of the people that tune in and watch these races, and thank you to all the drivers for showing up, giving us something to talk about. For everybody at BRN, this is Dustin Allen signing off, saying so long, and have a great rest of your night.